Ladies, gentlemen, welcome back. Today's video is sort of a dual blades guide, but it's basically going through different abilities and different ways you can play dual blades. And there's a personal favorite of mine that I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, and I've had some good success from it. So kind of wanted to go through what the other kind of abilities you can play is, and then showcase at the end the one I'm currently playing. So yeah, it should be relatively interesting. Dual blades is not in the best spot it's ever been in, but obviously coming to the end of the season now, so hopefully we'll next season we'll get something good. But doesn't mean it's not playable by any means. But yeah, just wanted to do a little kind of updated dual blades guide. I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. So this is build 1. This is your sort of an everything build. This is what most people play, and at the moment anyway. And it's yeah, it's good. It does everything you need. You got Shuriken to put you in stealth, slow people down, bleed, kill units. Nice. Then you got Vapors, that is kind of mandatory for most dual blades, most specs, unless you go for a real outlandish sort of combination of abilities. I would advise to always have this, because as a dual blades, you get knocked down, it's over, you're dead. Butterfly, this is quite nice because it's high damage and it moves you towards the enemy, puts a slow on a bleed, very nice. And then a mandatory again, marked for death. There's no getting away from it. It's mandatory as a dual blade. So this is your bog standard, what most people play. That's your first build. Now this is your second build. It's only a one ability change, realistically, but obviously now you've got Infiltrator. You have the opportunity to go stealth. Now, personally, I wouldn't advise this at all. They obviously have nerfed our ambush damage so much that a 39-second cooldown to ambush someone is not really acceptable. If you miss that ambush, then that's a whole ability slot out of 4 that's been wasted because you missed. And if you ambush them, you're probably going to only hit them for 3k anyway. So it's kind of, yeah, it's not really worth it unless you're doing sort of a sneak round and using units to, sneak with you and stuff like that. The only way I'd say this is worthwhile is if you have the epic dual blade schematic set, because then once you kill someone, your cooldowns get reset. So that means you can go straight back into stealth. You don't have to worry about that 39-second cooldown. That is the only way, I would say, to take this spec. The next one, I've seen a few people play this. This is obviously Great Thunderbolt. This can be a really strong hero killing one, but the problem is as soon as units arrive, it gets a bit tricky. But I would definitely advise giving it a go because it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't take it too seriously when you play it. But yeah, it's just quite fun to have that control that if you land that Thunderbolt, there is a very high chance you're going to kill them. But the problem, on the flip side of that, the problem is that you land that bolt, they bring their units over. You don't have that Shuriken to keep things slowed down and just keep that sort of momentum up with going in stealth and out of stealth. The only way you'll get in stealth here is if you land the Great Thunderbolt, or if you jump off your horse, or use your get up from knockdown Vapors. So it is fun, but I wouldn't advise it straight off. Now the last one, and this is what we're really going to be looking at, because I think it's been overlooked massively, is obviously we got Shuriken, great. That gives us our slow, gives us a bleed. We got our Vapors, gotta have it. But we've changed Butterfly for Skylark. Now this has a lot of benefits, and also feels like a lot of people think this has some downsides. But actually, it's got very little. It's surprised. The only downside I can see is obviously the animation lock, and that kind of sucks. But a few, maybe last season or 2 seasons ago, they added a little charge that comes with this now. It's not in the picture there, but we'll show you. I'll put it on screen. It's it's got a little charge that now pushes you towards the enemy. But what is so great about this is the bleed damage and the fact people can't block it. So you can get in a stage where you are using shuriken. They put up their block because shuriken can be blocked. But then you just instantly hit this, and they're trying to block something that can't be blocked. It's really nice. I'll show you a few examples. The next thing that's nice about it is the low cooldown. The pressure you can put out between having a 6-second cooldown and a 5-second cooldown is really nice. And I'll show you a clip now of that pressure. So here we have the little back charging maul. We go for the kick, miss it, go for the ult, try and bring the unit over, but don't end up using them. Into a Skylark, avoid his ult, into an ambush, into a stab, into a shuriken, into an ambush, into a Skylark. The pressure you can put out is incredible. And I wouldn't have had Butterfly back if I had have had that as a skill. Because Skylark's on such a low cooldown, I get it back very, very quick. The next thing that's nice is obviously 30% more damage when you hit them from behind. Now, when you hit them from behind, this takes it to doing more damage than Butterfly. It doesn't do huge damage from the front. You really don't want to be hitting from the front, but if you can hit from behind, you'll do the same to more damage than Butterfly. And the next thing that's really nice is the bleeds. The bleeds on this get overlooked massively. They get overlooked so much. Basically, everyone looks at it and then they look at Butterfly and they go, okay, 2 seconds deals 600 to enemies for 4 seconds. So that's 1200 damage right there for bleed. But this, if you land all 4 strikes, it ends up being around 800 a second for 3 seconds. So it's really strong. And then you combine that with this bleed that does 300 a second for 3 seconds. And then suddenly we've now got this bleed spec that's come in and it's doing an incredible amount of damage. So I'll show you what that looks like on the training guy. So you're going to start off with a shuriken, get that into a kick, get it into Skylark, into an ult, and it's over. Okay, we're going to take a little look at the bleed damage here. So we're going to hit him with a shuriken straight out of the gates to get the 300 per second on. Then we're going to hit him with a Skylark like this. And so now we are looking at 800 and, well, basically 300 at a time. The 300 will drop off now. We get another like 793. It's a lot of bleed damage, and the fact you can do it all the time, really, really nice. We're looking at 800 a tick. That is, considering Butterfly is 600 every 2 seconds. This is 800 every second. Now I just wanted to show you the kind of pressure it can put out. So we've got the short sword here. Granted, he's on a bit low health, but we've got a bleed already ticking on him. We put the second bleed on, go for a kick, miss the kick, another Skylark into a stab, and he's down. We get a pike come over here. We avoid him. He doesn't know where we are. Loses us, somehow loses us. Into a shuriken, into an ambush, into a Skylark, and he's dead. And because he got Skylark from behind, it was sort of high damage and over for him at that point. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to showcase was the advantages of the little dash that it gives you in sort of panic gameplay, in sort of getting away. Now I'll put a clip in, but I'll show you what I mean first. Essentially, let's say this is what Skylark looks like with its dash. It's got that little run forward that's sort of, maybe 3 meters or so. But if you combine that with a roll, it's actually quite effective, especially with the low cooldown of getting away. So you do something like this, and you can, you can gain that extra little bit of distance. That means someone can't, lean out like, let's say, a glaive when they do their shift attack and that staggers you. If you've managed to get the Skylark off with the roll, you get that extra little bit of distance to be out of the way of it. And because the dash happens so quickly, it does just move you out of the combat. So yeah, animation cancelling that is always an option, and it's it's a super nice way to get away from people in a sort of a clutch situation. And it's being that it's such a low cooldown, it's not like Butterfly where you would be like, but I might have to use that in the next 15 seconds. where I think Butterfly's on a 14-second cooldown, but this is on a 6, so using it defensively actually is viable. You know, it's not like, you know, it's going to be back if you do suddenly need it. So yeah, but I'll show you a clip now. So, as you can see in that little clip, nice little trick you can do just in case you panic and you need to get away. But overall, having a great time with it. It's a nice change to using Butterfly, so I could highly recommend it. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what next season brings for Dual Blades. We're now coming to the end of the season, so we'll always keep you updated with what's going on with Dual Blades. And I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helps you in some way. I'm sorry I didn't test out the other specs. It's just, yeah, I'm enamored by this one, so I kind of wanted to showcase this one. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.